Oh, baby, let's go. Welcome, 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 world, to Sam Roberts Now. It's the loneliest show on all of the internet on the loneliest night of the week. Of course, I'm talking about the one, the only, lonely Friday night. And speaking of the one and the only, who is here? Not the one, Billy Gunn, but the one, the man himself, Hot Dog.
What's cooking, good looking?
You are, oh, is that my fault that you're low or your fault that you're low?
It could be. I just tweaked around with it right now. But.
You tweaked around. I didn't realize we were going to get a real in-depth techie. I didn't realize
Okay,
that we were going to, it's much better now.
Here's a test. Wait, no, let me test it.
Okay.
Can I test it?
Yeah.
Hey.
When you go high pitched, the Zoom that you're on just naturally cuts it off. They're like, nobody wants to hear that.
That's so ghetto.
Yeah.
It's time.
Yeah, it works.
All right, cool.
Yep, you're on. Unfortunately, you are on and we are on, and we welcome you to another Sam Roberts Now. I already see some super chats coming in. Every super chat will get read. That's the rule of Sam Roberts Now. Don't forget to hit like. Don't forget to subscribe, because we have a lot to talk about on this loneliest occasion of all occasions. A story that we've been tracking here and there, but certainly more here than there, is the saga of this gentleman right here, this American hero, the self-proclaimed video game player of the century. And I'm assuming he means the 1900s, because that's when he was. I mean, most of his scores were from the 1980s. I don't think when he says video game player of the century, but I don't like we're only whatever 24 years into this one. So
The
Billy
player
Mitchell,
of a century.
video game player of a century, this or any. Billy Mitchell, American hero. You can tell he's an American hero because of the tie. He is the star of the classic. You enjoying yourself? You enjoying your snack?
I got some jalapeno pepper jack cheese.
But why are you acting like you're not in the hot dog box? Like people can't see you chomping. Like just because you're not talking doesn't mean people can't see you chomping.
You can see me chomping. I don't care.
You want to get hungry? Get hungry. See me chomping. Billy Mitchell is, of course, he first rose to, he rose to video game fame with his Donkey Kong records in the 1980s. He's a competitive Donkey Kong player, probably some Pac-Man in there, all the
King of Kong
cabinet video games. And that's in the early 2000s. A documentary called The King of Kong came out that Billy Mitchell played. Even though it's a documentary, it still followed a fairly, hero's story narrative structure where Billy Mitchell did play the villain, although he would probably object very much to being called a villain in that or, frankly, any scenario. The story of young Steve Wiebe, who in his basement with a cabinet, his family screaming in the other room, was able to make a Donkey Kong record, and Billy Mitchell had just remembered that he had another Donkey Kong score on videotape and was able to contest it. He would never play head-to-head. It was a whole thing, but I think what that documentary did was it pulled the curtain back so that a lot of us normies that aren't in that video game world could see what this controversy was all about, because this character had been one that existed for a long time in the video game world. And since then, the controversy hasn't even remotely subsided. You see, we talked about this before, but you remember like a few months ago, we talked about the fact that he claimed a Pac-Man record, but he had the wrong color. Remember the wrong colored nozzle was on the...
Months ago, man, that feels like
maybe it was a year. Maybe it was a year ago. I don't know. But this has been going on for a long time. See, Twin Galaxies is the name of the governing body that handles all of the video game records. You want to have any sort of seriousness with your video game record, it needs to be listed on the Twin Galaxies registry. So in 2018, Twin Galaxies banned Billy Mitchell, or as one of his enemies in the King of Kong documentary hilariously called him Silly Bitchel, is what he said. He said,
Mitchell.
he says his name's Billy Mitchell, but I call him Silly Mitchell. And you're like,
Got
okay,
it.
all right. You really got him. By the way, if anything needs a documentary sequel, it's King of Kong. There's been so much that's happened since that movie with this guy. So 2018, Twin Galaxies removes Billy Mitchell's records and bans him from the governing body for saying that his gameplay could not have come from an unmodified cabinet. So what they got was these Donkey Kong scores in the mail. Billy Mitchell likes to video his scores and send them in the mail. He doesn't love having a whole bunch of people watching him. You know, you could tell looking at him with the feathered hair, with the outlandish tie. This is a guy who likes to keep to himself. This is not a guy who, you know, is here for the glitz and the glamour. He wants to lead his nice, quiet life. And in that, he likes to video his scores. He doesn't need to do it in front of people. He doesn't need to feel that pressure.
It's pressure. It's, you know, you perform differently. I get it.
Right. So he goes, here are my scores. Now they get the scores and they go, but the colors, I guess. I think that's what it was, that the colors that were on the screens are colors that couldn't possibly exist within the structures that are built in unmodified Donkey Kong cabinets. Instead, they said that these are clearly what do they call them? You know, the games that are,
Like a modern screen setup.
No, it wasn't even that it was a screen. The problem wasn't that it was a screen. It was emulation. Emulation is the word that I was looking for. They said,
right, but it was an indicator, is what I'm saying.
Yes, it was an indicator that this is what they thought was either a modified cabinet or he's playing on an emulator. And if that's the case, these records don't stand. He said they do. And Billy Mitchell decided he had had enough, and he sued Twin Galaxies for defamation. Now, this is going all the way back into 2018. And over the years, Billy Mitchell has come up with new charges. Billy Mitchell has come up with new evidence. Twin Galaxies is, you know, I'm not necessarily trying to go all the way to court with this because it's very expensive to go to court. And Billy Mitchell provides, he provides an expert witness. He finds this guy who apparently is a university professor. This is a guy with a doctorate. And this guy comes forward and he says, as an expert, I will tell you that these screens that Billy Mitchell sent could have absolutely come from an unmodified cabinet if the machine was malfunctioning due to hardware deterioration. So the expert goes, wow, if the machine's broken, it could look like that. And if it could look like that, who's to say it didn't look like that? So this is the excuse now. Billy is saying, well, these are old machines. They're from the 80s. And as it turns out, sometimes arcade cabinets from the 80s deteriorate to the point that the game still works absolutely fine, but the coloring matches an emulation. And if you disagree with that, I'll see you in court.
Aren't emulators supposed to look better, though?
Well, yeah, I mean, but the colors could be brighter. The colors could be whatever, but
the broken down.
Oh, I see what you're saying. You're saying. So you could be the expert witness to the Twin Galaxies side, going like, bruh, emulations look better. Deterioration would look worse.
That's my first question.
Yeah.
If you say my PS1 broke down, I'm like, well, boy, does it look like PS3 graphics?
Yeah, it looks way better. Yeah, lucky you. No, it's just old. It doesn't really work as well anymore. The colors are all different. Those are much brighter and better.
Vivid.
Yeah, please do not fix my PlayStation. No, it's a good question. I mean, I think it becomes very hard to prove or disprove a statement like that. But when you get something, and I mean, people have no idea who this expert is. Nobody's ever heard of this guy. From I've never heard of him. But Twin Galaxies goes, we can't. we can't go all the way to court. When you have an expert coming forward and saying, no, it could have been the real video game system because maybe it just deteriorated over time. And then it looks like that. You don't know. You know what that tells people? That tells people you're going all the way with this. That tells people that you are not afraid of legal costs, because that's what stops cases from going to court ultimately, is that it's expensive to go to court. So when someone comes to you with this type of expert, what they're telling you is, I don't mind being here all day. There is nothing that's sending me home.
How much scratch does this Billy guy have that it wouldn't cost him as well?
Well, something you don't know about Billy Mitchell. Number one, not only is he a big celebrity from the video game world. Number two, not only does he have all these records, but number three, he sells hot sauce. And he has sold a ton of hot sauce. In fact, somewhere around here, it's not within an arm's reach, unfortunately.
Oh my God.
I have a signed bottle. Oh, hang on. Hot Dog, tell the people what's going on with you. What do you think of this story, Hot Dog?
And it looks, what I think is, I'm going to be disgusted that you have Billy Mitchell hot sauce. That,
Keep talking.
Why?
Keep talking.
What do you?
Keep talking. Let him know. Let him know.
Well, one, I never heard of this guy before until this whole controversy. So I don't know what this big celebrity.
And here it is. Signed by the man himself. It's King of Kong wing sauce. Never surrender, Billy Mitchell. This is my Billy Mitchell hot sauce that I have right here. See that? Steve Wiebe. I would imagine he probably did not pay Steve Wiebe for the likeness, but I don't know. And Billy Mitchell right there. Billy signed it. Wing sauce, never surrender. A commemorative sauce donated by Billy Mitchell and Ricky's world famous sauce. Okay, used by March 1st, 2012. So we'll just use that as a display. Yeah, that would just be a display.
No curiosity, at least. You bought it. You didn't realize.
You want to know. Whatever. It's hot sauce. I'll use Frank's. What difference does it make? It's a signed bottle, okay? This is Billy Mitchell, for God's sake.
Billy, this sounds like such a 1990s story. I mean, I know it's a 1990s thing, but like, why is it still a thing in 2024?
Because these records are important.
No, they're not.
Well, to Billy, they are. To Billy Mitchell, they are. He's suing over them, and Twin Galaxies needs to maintain their integrity. So this week, this is happening this week, 2024. Yeah. This week, they announced that they were settling. So the Billy Mitchell haters are saying that he lost. The Billy Mitchell supporters are saying that he won. But ultimately, they've decided to settle out of court. And this statement from Billy Mitchell, and you can tell it's from Billy Mitchell because the Pac-Man and the ghosts are on top of the screen. See?
That's cute.
That he did that. This is just a grab from him. A statement from Billy Mitchell says today, January 16th, 2024, Twin Galaxies has reinstated all of the video game world records that I achieved in my career, effective immediately. Twin Galaxies' statement on its website reads in pertinent part, quote, in fair consideration of the expert opinion provided by Dr. Zaida. He's the one that said, no, it probably just looks better because it's broken. On behalf of Mr. Mitchell, and consistent with the Twin Galaxies' dedication to the meticulous documentation and preservation of video game score history, Twin Galaxies shall herefore reinstate all of Mr. Mitchell's scores as part of the official historical database on Twin Galaxies' website. And then Billy writes, I am relieved and satisfied to reach this resolution after an almost 6-year ordeal and look forward to pursuing my unfinished business elsewhere. Never surrender, Billy Mitchell. Now, there's two things that stick out to me about that. Number one, that Billy ends with looking forward to pursuing my unfinished business elsewhere. That tells me that this guy is going to try to find the haters and start suing them. I think he's going to get litigious. I think
I was kind of talking shit.
Oh, yeah. You're next, Hot Dog. I think he realizes, well, if he could get his record reinstated on Twin Galaxies, then he can start winning some of this stuff, right? Maybe he's got a lawyer friend that's like giving him a deal, some kind of retainer thing. And he's like, yeah, we could just keep people on the hook forever. And they're going to end up settling or whatever. You're going to win somehow. But then I looked a little bit more deeply, right? Because at first the headline says, he just says, effective immediately, Twin Galaxies has reinstated all of the video game world records, right?
Okay.
And then, but what his quote that he quoted said was, Twin Galaxies shall herefore reinstate all of Mr. Mitchell's scores as part of the official historical database on Twin Galaxies' website. As part of the official historical database.
Okay, what does that mean?
Right, that's what I said. What does that mean? Because it doesn't say we're going to reinstate the records on the record book. It says we're going to reinstate the records on the historical database. What Billy Mitchell is not making clear in this statement is that Twin Galaxies has a record of the top scores. It's a newer website. And as part of that website, they also have an archived version of the old list of records, almost like the Wayback Machine.
Yeah.
Billy Mitchell's records were reinstated on the historical part of this site, meaning that these records were once here. But they are not being considered actual records.
I get you.
Right? So he's going, this is where they're both trying to win. He's going, my records have been reinstated. And they're like, I hate to be finicky with all the details.
We acknowledge that you were the champion.
That's it. The records were reinstated to the history, but not to the active record. You see the difference?
Right.
So it's almost like he's suing to get the asterisks taken. It's almost like he's suing to get his name back on, and they are putting the name back on, but they're leaving the asterisks.
Okay.
Right. So what I'm trying to tell you is,
this is wrestling terms. This is when Ted DiBiase bought the championship from Andre the Giant.
where Ted DiBiase is like, I'm a former WWE champion. Well, so here's what is put in the record book.
He's saying he is the WWE champion because
no.
He never lost it.
They're saying, because Ted DiBiase was not ever actually WWE champion, but it is a historical fact that at one point he was awarded the title.
Right.
Right? So
Yes.
they're saying, we'll acknowledge that at one point you were awarded the title, but we are not putting you in the record as being champion. And he's Ted DiBiase going, so you're saying I was champion. You see what I'm saying? And he's going out there and saying, like, see, we came to an agreement. I was champion. And then they go, we didn't say you were champion. He goes, did you say I was awarded with the title? Yes. What do champions get awarded with? Well, the title, but okay, that's enough. Stop right there.
I rest my case.
Yeah. He says, Dr. Zaida sounds super legit. Yeah, of course he does. I mean, he's Dr. Zaida, and he told you. Yeah.
I mean, I could have also said that same thing, and I'm not a doctor.
You could have said the same thing. You unfortunately lack the credibility that one requires to be an expert witness.
Yeah, but what expert? I mean, it looked like it was like a crapshoot. Well, it could, or it didn't say like definitively this is not an emulation. He didn't say.
But you don't have to prove that it is. They have to prove that it isn't. See what I'm saying? So if they can't prove that it isn't, then they can't say that he's not. And that's what they're going for. Now, look, they didn't win that case. They didn't go to court. This guy's credibility as an expert was not put in front of a jury. This lawsuit never happened. It was settled out of court because they realized that Billy was just going to go on forever, and they want to get back to business and not keep spending money on lawyers and trials. And also, they were like, okay, what if we just put you back in the archives? He's like, so I have the record again. They're like, no. Whatever you need to tell people. It's, I mean, look, legally, it's a very, very complicated world out there. Billy Mitchell has just avoided the courts, while Alec Baldwin, who probably doesn't love that people use his picture dressed up as a cowboy, is going back to court today. He got indicted by a grand jury in New Mexico on an involuntary manslaughter charge for the shooting on the movie Rust. We all remember this story. The gun went off.
Or
A gun went off on this movie Rust. It's like a cowboy movie. There was a live round in the gun. Somebody gets killed. We are trying to try the parties that are responsible for this. And here comes Alec Baldwin. Now you're saying, what is this, a rerun? We're talking about Billy Mitchell and Alec Baldwin being indicted. He has caught a charge before, but they dismissed the case. The first time he was charged with this, they dismissed the case. A new prosecution came forward, and they put together this indictment, and a grand jury was able to say, yes, there is enough there to charge him with involuntary manslaughter. This does not mean he's guilty. It means he has to go to court for it. It can be up to 18 months in jail. I personally think that even if he's found guilty, they're not going to put him in any jail time. He clearly, like you'll say, he clearly didn't mean to shoot anybody, right? But that's why it's called involuntary manslaughter. I think
also, does this have to do with the fact that he was executive producer on the film?
Here's what it has to do with. That he said two things. He said that he was told there were no live rounds in the gun or anywhere on set, which is probably true. I think the way I'm reading this, the way I've read the articles and everything, I think that the bottom line here, what this is all really falling upon, is he also said, and I never pulled the trigger. I did not pull the trigger. Therefore, I am not responsible even in an involuntary way. And a prosecution was able to put forth a forensic report. And again, Billy Mitchell is going to get an expert that is going to agree with him. A forensic report by the prosecution is always going to be a forensic report by the prosecution, but still a credible forensic report that said, we really don't see how this gun goes off if he doesn't pull the trigger. I think if he had said, yes, that he pulled the trigger, except he had no idea that there was live rounds, because that's, I'm sure, true. There's no...
why would you...
Right, there's no way that he thought there was live rounds in the gun. I don't think that it's possible.
Like, that would be an extra lie to cover up what...
That's the problem. He said he didn't pull the trigger.
Yeah.
And I just don't understand. First of all, like, this goes back to the... You think there are people watching this movie Rust? You think people are so excited about this movie Rust that they're going to be watching it and they're going to figure out that you're not using a real gun? How about, like, The Crow died. Remember The Crow? He died because he got shot because they were using real guns. That was like 1993. And he had to get resurrected as Sting. Okay? Why wouldn't we just use fake guns on movies? Like, it's not real blood. It's not real knives. If you're stabbing somebody, it's all fake.
Maybe it saves. If I had to just guess, maybe it saves on CG cost when you see like the bullet, the gun firing and going off, and you get that little.
You can get a cap gun.
Does it have that same thing?
I mean, look. You don't think you can get a fake gun? I don't think they need to add CGI to make it real. This isn't the Matrix, okay? We're not following the bullet. There's no way that you can sit here with a straight face and tell me the only way to achieve a small blast that would come from a gun is to shoot a real gun. Has to be a real gun. Otherwise, it's impossible.
Unless it's CGI, like a CGI flame.
Then how have they done it forever?
Real guns.
Okay. It's either Spielberg, Jurassic Park, or real guns.
Yeah, that or let's see. Maybe the idea is that someone in the audience will know that it's a fake gun, like they can tell.
Man, I love that movie Rust, except you could tell that was fake, that gun.
Yeah, well, Hollywood. Some Hollywood people like it being as true as it possibly can. Like people who don't like using CGI.
Bro.
Yeah.
This is not Daniel Day-Lewis doing Lincoln. I need Lincoln's actual hat. That's not what this is. This is Rust. Okay.
You don't know. We never saw the movie.
Well, I'm willing to believe. That there aren't that many high-profile people attached to it besides Alec Baldwin. Okay.
Everything went 100% correct, and
Right.
it was a banger. Ended up being a classic. and Alec Baldwin was like, yeah, and we just felt like for the artistic integrity of it, like during the DVD commentary, he goes like, we had to use real guns so we can get that, that real feel of it. You'd be like, you'd be going along with, oh yeah, that was a good choice. This movie's a classic.
So you think they've figured out how to do everything fake except guns? They've just not figured out the technology to do fake guns.
What else is fake in Hollywood?
No, that's a good point, actually. now that you mention it, that's a great... I mean, look, we just saw Terrifier. Terrifier was made for no money.
Yeah.
And includes people having their bones broken and necks twisted around. I seen a lady get sawed in half from the gens to the head. Everything.
It had great what's it when it's not CGI and it's like
practical effects?
Great practical effects.
So they're like, wow, we don't really know how to do practical effects. But my uncle has a real gun.
That's a practical effect.
The real gun?
Yes.
I don't think that counts. That's just a thing doing what it does. That's like being like, well, for practical effects, we wanted it to look like a stabbing. So we got a guy, we just stabbed him to death. Practical effect.
Sure. I mean, that's what stuntmen are.
I love that. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, I'd like to present our expert witness. It's a film professor. Professor, could you explain practical effects to the jury? Would you say stabbing somebody to death is a practical effect?
Someone in the comments knows what.
I guess in the most general sense, sure. Or how about this? If you're going to use a real gun, get a new real gun. Like one that hasn't been used yet. Because what happens is they go like, okay, there's no bullets in this gun, but there'll be a bullet still lodged in the barrel from the last time it shot.
Mm-hmm.
And so while they've checked it and there's no real bullets in there, the fact that there was a real bullet in the barrel is what goes through. And now, boom, here we go. I think that's what happened on the set of The Crow.
You mean like
it was
every take, they just like open up the plastic on the gun?
No, I don't mean every take. I mean, when you first get to the movie set, bring a new gun and don't put any real bullets in it until the movie's over.
I mean, I was with you for a second. If we're going to go all the way, we might as well have one for every take.
So your first thing was they can't afford a fake gun. And your second thing is buy a new real gun for every take that's in plastic for some reason because guns come in plastic. Like surgical tools.
Guns. Yeah, that's how guns are, right? And then you wrap, we need another one. And then you do this to make sure there's no bullet in there.
Shaka. No bullet.
Boom. All right, let's go. Take 3.
Wouldn't it be wild if Alec Baldwin ends up going to jail and it's really just because he was insistent on saying that he didn't pull the trigger? Like if you just said you pulled the trigger, we wouldn't have sent you to jail. But you keep saying you clearly pulled the trigger. Somebody.
I wouldn't think it would have hurt his cause. And I think he's more responsible if you're going at it for the aspect of he was executive producer, he was the boss in charge. So someone has to take responsibility.
I mean, yeah, but the executive producer, what does that mean? You know what an executive producer is? It's when you get somebody to do a movie that's not that big, except they're kind of a big star, and they're like, what if we give you the title of executive producer and actor? Oh, okay, I'll do that. That's what executive producer is.
I know, but still, I mean, that's not the case for everything. You could be an executive producer and do some bullshit, or you could be an executive producer and
why you keep talking about Alec Baldwin being executive producer?
Because I believe he was. I read an article that said he was read an article. I saw a tweet. That's how I caught myself. That said he was executive producer on it.
But they're not saying he's responsible for supplying the gun. They're saying he's responsible for shooting it.
No, but I mean, like this for the safety of the set. Whoever the boss is would be responsible for making sure, hey, we hire this person. This person's doing their job and this and that. I can understand.
Then why aren't they putting the safety coordinator on trial?
They should, probably. I would think.
Probably.
That's a good question.
So you're an expert witness and a lawyer tonight.
Yeah. And then you ask me that question and I go, I mean, they should bring him in.
He's claiming that he pulled the hammer back, but the hammer sprung back and didn't cock. You see? So there was and then a bullet, and then it just went off. Is what Hubbleson is saying, which is somebody who, unlike you, Hot Dog, is not just deciding tonight's the night to just talk out of his ass.
Is he a lawyer? Hubbleson?
No, he probably knows how a gun works, though, a lot better than you.
Yeah, I bet.
I'm from these streets, son. Yeah, I mean, we'll see. We'll see. It's got to be very stressful for Alec Baldwin. Probably also stressful for the family of the woman who died. You know?
Yeah. You just did they get something? Was there like a lawsuit at least with the studio?
Well, I mean, I don't know. They got to figure out who's responsible first, I would imagine. You know, like they didn't sue OJ for murder until he was not guilty, and then they decided, but we can still sue him for murder. So
I mean, regardless of who pulled the trigger and whether the safety person was at fault, the studio is ultimately at fault for that death. No? I would sue them.
I don't know if there was a big. It wasn't a big movie. I don't know if there's a studio. I mean, obviously, there's
Alec Baldwin isn't working for a big studio.
No, he's not working for a big studio. That's the point. They made him executive producer because it's not a big studio. You fucking Mark.
Let me look it up.
Yeah. I mean, I feel pretty good about just talking shit, but let me look it up.
Yeah.
No, it wasn't a big movie. That's the whole point.
Rust, IMDb.
Okay, put it on IMDb.
All right.
I don't know. I don't even know what side of this you're on. You're just arguing.
I'm just arguing both sides just to argue. Who was the studio on this? Director, a writer. Okay, production. All right. Let's see. Box office.
But it didn't. Right. Don't check the box office. They didn't finish it. It made $0 at the box office.
Well, when are they going to restart?
Once they figure out whether or not they can keep their executive producer.
Yeah. All right. Well, I can't get it because I don't have an IMDb premium membership. But
you need an IMDb premium membership to figure out who's the executive producer?
Is to find out what the production was, I guess.
Bro, it's not a studio movie. It's not a big studio movie. I don't know why.
Right, I'll take your word for it. My gosh.
Jesus Christ.
Buffalo 8 Productions, Calvary Media. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Calvary Media. Oh, yeah, I forgot. I was just watching the Golden Globes, and all the people from Calvary Media were there.
All right, okay.
What do you think? I just come on here and make stuff up?
Rust Movie Productions, LLC.
Thank you. Thank you. Are you happy now? Are you glad you signed up for your premium membership so you could just realize once again, just listen to me?
I did a free trial.
Did you really?
No.
That'd be great. Let me just put in a password real quick. Well, look, if you want to find out more about the legal process, there is, this is such a great time for true crime. By the way, don't forget to super chat in. I see you guys super chatting. Every super chat will get acknowledged. If there's something you want to add to the conversation, a topic that doesn't come up you think should come up, go ahead, add it
Any
in.
topic.
Join us.
Anything.
We ain't scared. We ain't scared. There's a documentary on Netflix. True crime renaissance happening right now. It's just good stuff after good stuff after good stuff. And I guess the thing is that there's so the news cycle is so fast now that even if you kind of remember hearing about a story, you totally forget it ever happened within a week. And then a year, 2, 3 years later, a Netflix doc comes out that just completely unpacks it. And you're like, oh shit, that's what was going on? Which is kind of what's happening here. I didn't even really remember this case, but some people I'm sure will, especially people that are local to it or in California. But they were showing clips of the Today Show was covering it and everything. It was a national story. The documentary is called American Nightmare. And I did think I was watching the Cody
Finish
doc.
the story.
Yeah, I thought we were going to finish the story. And we did finish this story. Their American Nightmare story got finished.
One did. Thank God.
Yes. This is Aaron and Denise. I'll probably give some spoilers here. So,
Okay.
It is what it is. Spoilers are as spoilers does. But it'll still be worth watching, right? So it's a 3-episode series. And it's good because each of the 3 episodes seems necessary. Like episode 1 has a purpose, episode 2 has a purpose, and episode 3 is the kind of wrap-up finale. I could have easily seen them trying to push this into the 4 to 5 episode range if they were really trying to stretch it out, and they showed a little bit of discipline. They just said, we're going to give them 3, we're going to finish the story, and we're going to be done. It's the American Nightmare. This is coming out of Vallejo, California, and I will tell you this, the Vallejo Police Department does not come across well
Vallejo.
in this doc. It doesn't. So one night, Aaron and Denise, they're together, right? They're together in the home. Well, I don't know if they were doing P&V this exact night. As a matter of fact, they probably weren't because they were arguing a little bit. We find out, but basically, Aaron here ends up going to the police department because his girlfriend has gone missing. His girlfriend was kidnapped right out of their house. They were together, and his girlfriend was kidnapped.
I know how this goes.
You can already tell, right? That guy is guilty.
Liar.
That's basically, you can't be a lawyer, but you can definitely get a job with the Vallejo Police Department. Because that was their response. He goes, look, in all fairness to everybody involved, these two have the most insane story that you've ever heard. It is not a traditionally believable story. But it is important to at least give people the benefit of the doubt because strange things do happen, okay?
Sure.
He's clearly lying. That's what they said. That's what they said. They were wrong. So he goes to the police department, and he goes, my girlfriend and I, we were together. We went to sleep. About 3 o'clock in the morning, we were awakened. And there's a man in a full wetsuit, covering his face and everything, just wetsuit. Not that the suit was actually wet, but he could have gone diving if he wanted to. And he had zip ties. He put them on the bed. And he went to Denise. He said, Denise, put Aaron in the zip ties, right? Put Aaron in the zip ties. Tie him up. Mm-hmm. They go, okay, just don't hurt us. Just don't hurt us. Put him in the zip ties. That's fine. And then I think maybe she ends up in zip ties too, whatever. And
you're telling the story as if you're him.
That's what he says.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. Whatever. I don't know. Whatever.
I don't know.
What am I going to remember every single detail that happened last night? I was tired.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I'm going to paraphrase his story. I'll be clear about that. Sorry. Then he puts goggles on him that are blacked out with electrical tape so you can't see through them, right? Like swimming goggles, but they've got tape on them so you can't see through them.
Sure, buddy. Sure. Keep going.
And then headphones on too, so like the sound is muffled. And from Aaron here, he gets his like bank information, his social security. He says, and open up her phone. He goes, okay, we're going to call her job. You need to call her job tomorrow and tell them she's sick. She's not coming in. Then you need to call your job tomorrow. Tell them you're sick. You're not coming in. And I'm going to call you back. Don't do anything. And then he gives them a sedative, they said, a liquid sedative. He makes them drink it. And he goes, I'm going to have a camera on you. Go ahead.
Can I stop you right there?
Mm-hmm.
You're under arrest, sir. Please turn around. Turn around.
He goes, and then he put a camera in there and he said, I'm going to have a camera on you. Do not call the police. Do not call 911. Only call your office and call out of work, and that's it. And I'll call you back with instructions. He goes, and then he goes, all right. And then he passes out from the sedative. Don't forget about the liquid sedative.
Yeah, of course.
6 hours later, he wakes up and he takes the goggles off. And he's like, the hell happened? And he sees there's a camera.
What the hell happened?
What the hell happened? And there's a camera there. The guy has set up a camera. And he goes, oh, my God. And he's taken Denise. Denise has been taken. Denise has been kidnapped. And he goes, oh, my God, what am I going to do? And he gets an email. And the guy goes, I have Denise. I'll give her back. Don't worry. Because he hears, during the kidnapping, he hears him apparently talking to somebody else who's also there. And they were actually looking for this guy's ex-fiance, they say. But she's not there anymore because it's his ex. Now he's with her. And he's like, that's real weird. And then he's like, okay, well, I can't call the cops. Can't call 911. Can't do anything. He gets an email. And I'm missing, I watched this last night. He gets an email. And the email says that he wants, he's like, all right, I'm going to send Denise back. Don't worry about it. but you're going to have to give me $20,000 in cash. And he goes, all right, let me call Chase. And he calls the bank and he goes, how much can I get? How much can you advance me? And they go, $3,500.
Shit.
And he goes, and he writes an email back. It's an anonymous email address. He goes, most I can get $3,500. And the guy's like, what? And doesn't really email back, right? He doesn't hear from him. So hours go by. He doesn't hear from the kidnapper anymore.
Can he just like whisper, or is he still on? Is he mic'd up or something? You can't whisper at the person on the phone. Hey, they have my girlfriend.
Wait,
I'm gonna kill her.
He doesn't know. He's got the camera on him. Maybe a cell phone's bugged.
Is it mic'd up?
Well, there could be a mic on the camera. Maybe
like
a
mic.
Huh? No,
like a boom mic.
Cameras have mics on them.
Yeah, there's shitty mic that's not gonna pick up. Hey, real quick. $3,500.
What'd you whisper? Nothing. Nothing.
I was gonna do that. $3,500. Yeah, my girlfriend, please give me.
What'd you just whisper?
Coughed.
All right.
Yeah, my girlfriend.
All right. No problem then. No problem. If it's just a cough, that's fine. So then he's like, okay, I'm not hearing from this guy. I'm gonna go to the police. And they show him in the interrogation room. They have all the interrogation room stuff, right?
You're like, get a little of this fucking liar over here.
And he tells the story, and the guy's writing it down. He's like, okay, all right, no problem. Okay. Oh, and that's it. Okay. And then here's where it goes south. The cop goes like this. Are you guys fighting at all?
Yeah.
And the guy goes like this. Actually, we were in an argument because I had been talking to my ex, and she wanted me to stop talking to my ex. He goes, oh, okay. And he goes, but we settled that. You know, we settled before we went to bed. We settled that.
Oh, cool.
Cop goes, okay. And I mean, this police officer was pretty sure of himself. He was very mean. He goes like this. There was no frogman in your room. Nobody broke into your house. That didn't happen. I don't believe any of that. And he's like, what?
I don't believe it either. I don't think there's anything. He goes, I know you watched the doc.
He goes, I don't believe any of it. And then they set him up to a lie detector test, right? Set him up to a lie detector test. This new officer comes in, gives him a lie detector test, right? And he's taking off the wires. The guy's like, okay, that's the conclusion of the test. The guy sits down next to him. He pulls the chair up real close to him. He's like, well, I'm going to tell you right now, you failed that test miserably. And the guy's like, oh my God. Like he thought he was coming to get help. And he's like, what the hell's going on? He's like, I think I need a lawyer. Because he realizes like this has gone south in a hurry, right? So he gets a lawyer. A lawyer comes in and goes like, what is going on? This guy's quivering in the corner like a chihuahua. This can't happen, right? Then 48 hours passes, not from the time he left, because I think he was in the police station for like 18 hours plus the time that he was passed out. So like maybe one more day goes by.
That's the first 48. She could be dead by now.
Well, her father lives 400 miles away. He flies down to Vallejo to try to get involved with this, right? To try to like help the police and everything. And they tell the father, you got to go back home. He goes, why is that? They go, because we got the security cam footage from a doorbell and we just talked to your neighbor. She just showed up at your house. The kidnapped girl, Denise, just shows up and you just see her walking up. She sent like a voice memo while all this was going on, while her boyfriend was in the police station. She didn't send it. A voice memo of her voice was sent to a reporter who then sent it to the police department saying her name, her first concert, and a current event that had happened that day. So they knew it was happening that day. It was all very by the book, but she sounded very calm in it. So it's suspicious. And then she just shows up 400 miles away from where the crime took place at her dad's place. So they're like, okay, what the hell is going on now? Right? So at first she goes, we need to talk to the police. And the police talk to her like once. And she doesn't give them a ton of information. There's certain gaps that she leaves out. But they're like, okay, we're going to have to take you in. Because this whole thing happens at the same time that the movie Gone Girl just came out. And the plot of the movie...
Okay.
Huh?
Well, life imitates art.
Well, and this is exactly the same thing as like that movie Orphan comes out, right? And now we're talking about Natalia Grace. The movie Gone Girl comes out. They're like, oh, this is like that movie Gone Girl. And she goes, wait a minute. In Gone Girl, the woman fakes her own kidnapping so that everybody blames the husband. And they're like, correct. Yeah, that's what happens in that movie. She's
Can
like,
you find another comparison?
She's like, oh, boy. So she goes to San Francisco where she finds a lawyer of her own because she realizes her goose is cooked. And while she's on her way to San Francisco, the Vallejo Police Department hold a press conference calling both of these people liars and saying that she wasted everybody's time. This whole thing was a hoax. And these two are looking at this press conference going, the fuck? What? Like, they're like, what happened? And so the first episode of the doc is his story, right? And you're just watching him tell this story. He's like, this is wild. This was crazy. This whole thing was happening. And then the second episode, and again, these are spoilers, they have a teaser going into the second episode where you see her face. And you're like, oh, shit, she's on the doc. Because you think for a second, oh, if she's faking this whole thing, there's no way she's on this doc. Because, you know, she's going to be like Christine, the mom on the Natalia Grace show.
Or in jail.
But she's just sitting there giving an interview. And you're like, oh, my God, I got to watch episode 2. Episode 2, she tells her story. And she tells every detail exactly the same as him. And then explains that she was kidnapped, put in the trunk of a car, put in this room, had the goggles on, was SA'd. You know what SA stands for on YouTube? You know stuff. Why would you say it? Why would I?
I didn't finish it.
I know, but why would I say SA and then you're just like, yeah, I'll say the.
Because my mind just went running. I was trying to figure it out.
I was doing a video for Mattel with R-Truth. And I handed him a figure. It was this figure. I was like, look, and he was dressed up as Santa. And I go, look, Santa, it's B.A. Billy Gunn. And he starts singing, I'm an ass man. And I go, Santa, why would I say B.A. if I wanted you to say ass? Oh, my bad.
I was going to say that just now. My bad.
My bad. So all this terrible stuff was happening to her, right? And she gets out and she gets this lawyer and everything. And they're like, nah, none of that happened. Not one part of that happened. None of it, right? And like the weeks go by. The cops are like, well, we solved this. No problem. Those people are liars. And yeah, we got some Smolays over there. A little while goes by, and in several towns over, several counties over, hours away, this guy gets arrested for breaking into people's houses and assaulting them, women mainly. And the cop goes, huh? And they search his apartment. And in his apartment, or house or whatever, they find NyQuil, which is a sedative, syringes and liquids and stuff like that.
You can knock somebody out with NyQuil?
I think there was probably more than NyQuil put in it. But I guess if you drink enough. And goggles with tape over them. I mean, literally everything they described. And they go, huh? But it's hours away. Like it's towns over. So they don't connect the two. Until time goes by, and because they find these goggles, and there's a blonde hair on the goggles. And the cop over here, not Vallejo, this other cop, is like, what's the blonde hair, though? Like, why is there blonde hair on this? And eventually, she's just on the phone with somebody, and on the phone there, he's like, you know about that Gone Girl case? She's like, what Gone Girl case? And he starts talking about it. They said they had like taped goggles, and they had this, and they had that. And he's literally describing this guy's house that she was just in. And she's like, oh my God. And then she Googles it, and this picture comes up, and it's a blonde lady. And they're like, oh my God. And this guy that they arrested used to be like a lawyer. So there's footage of him on TV on the news. And so she had never seen him because she had the goggles on. But then she watches the footage of him on the news and hears his voice. And she's like, oh my God, that's him. That's 100% him.
He was a lawyer?
At one point, he had been disbarred because he's nuts. And they realized that, like, everything these guys said, because the lawyers are sitting there going, we both asked them to tell their stories over and over and over again, and nothing changed. It was this, like, these are true stories. It's just the most insane story that's ever happened, but they're true stories. So then they get the affidavit. You know, they get the which is the investigation, and they start looking through it. These two get to look through it. Remember that guy who was like, hey, you completely failed this lie detector test.
Mm-hmm.
It said in the affidavit the lie detector test came back inconclusive. It wasn't a failure. It was just inconclusive.
They were just trying to fuck with him?
Yeah.
See what he would do? Yeah. That sounds like, that's a dirty tactic.
Yeah. And you start going through all this stuff, and you're like, oh, they just thought they were probably lying. So they just started, like, torturing them. You're like, oh, no. So,
because you can't use a lie detector in court, but
and then the guy that they arrested, he's like, yeah, I did, I did do that. Yes,
damn, he fessed up.
Yeah, he wrote an email when the cops came out and went, hey, these guys are lying about everything. The guy wrote an anonymous email going, they're not lying. Like, why are you calling them liars? They're not lying.
I did that shit.
And the cops are like, that's probably a fake email.
And so he's like, well, he's one of these guys who gets off on, like,
he's breaking into people's houses, kidnapping, assault. Yeah, it wasn't ever about the money. It was about control and assaulting people and doing all this stuff because he never got any of the money from her.
I thought it was gonna be like something like either Gone Girl, like you said.
No, they just got accused of it and they got dragged through the mud. And by the way, all the media, once the cops were like, yeah, this is a total hoax, everybody in the media was like, hey, look at these two jerks, huh? Meanwhile, they were like, why are you saying that? Why do you keep saying that?
Any other dice roll, that would have been the case. So I don't blame him from jumping to that conclusion.
But that's why.
If this same exact thing happened again, I would call them liars. Because what are the odds?
I think you would have to be very careful about that because they ended up getting an apology from the police department. And they did sue the police department for what's it called? You know, when people talk badly about you. I think
slander.
No, not slander. Defamation.
Defamation.
Yes, they sued for defamation and settled out of court for $2.5 million.
Not bad.
Yeah,
that's not bad for it's not a bad checkup for. I mean, they never went to jail. You know.
I mean, they had their lives and reputations destroyed a little bit.
It's worth 2.5 million, I think.
2.5 and a Netflix doc.
Yeah.
Because now it's the reverse. Because then at the end of the Netflix doc, they like shown the photos of all the exact cops. They're like, look at this jerk. Look at this jerk. And so now it's just the total reverse of where we started.
Damn. I mean, they came out on top though. Although
can I tell you something, Hot Dog?
What?
You don't believe them. Still.
That's exactly what I was gonna say.
Okay. I need you to watch the doc now.
Yeah.
And I'm glad that we went over this. I'm glad there were spoilers. I'm glad this went the way it went because now I want you and I want you at home to watch the doc because I'll bet there are some people that'll watch that doc and still go, nah.
I'm like, because I'm like, oh, good for them. They got away with it.
You think they finessed?
Yeah. Sometimes, so some maniac takes credit for a crime that he didn't commit.
Can you imagine living through the utter hell that these two had to live through, especially her? And there's still people like Hot Dog out there going like, I see what you did.
It's insane. It sounds insane.
Well, guess what? Some people aren't as fortunate in this life as you are.
Thank you.
Okay. Some people don't have that hot dog privilege. I'll
watch the doc, but I don't know. It's almost like that Nancy Grace thing where like, oh, now that there's a twist that she might actually be fucking crazy and doing all this wild shit.
But it's not a twist for them. They just weren't lying.
Yeah, and the twist is gonna be like season 2. Oh, we talked to like this other person that she's in a relationship now.
It's only 3 episodes.
And she is crazy. She's crazy. She did that shit.
Look, the Natalia Grace one, it's not Nancy Grace, by the way. It's Natalia Grace.
Or Nancy Grace is the person who hates you.
Wow. She called me either Beavis or Butthead. I don't know which one she referred to me as. But I'm glad she does. I don't like her either.
Yeah.
I mean, there are people in the chat that are bringing up evidence from the doc, and they're still going, I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah.
Come on.
It's a tough one. It's a tough one.
Oh. Yeah, they don't come across well. And then if you YouTube Vallejo Police Department, it's not the first time that they've had some controversy.
They jump to conclusions. They have that map.
Well, they like to, yeah. I think the thing is because while it's not an all cops are bad thing, because the Vallejo Police Department handled this case horribly, but the reason
I thought you were gonna say pretty well.
No, horribly, absolutely horribly, actually. But
in hindsight, sure, if you want to be a Monday morning,
bro. While they had this guy in, just beating into his head that he was lying,
yes.
They put his phone on airplane mode. Remember what I told you in the beginning? The kidnapper said, I'm going to call you. They put his phone on airplane mode.
But
they had 2 pings on the phone while he was at the police station. It was from the kidnapper, and they were able to trace those pings within 200 meters of where she was. If they had just answered the phone and believed him, they would have been able to track her down and save her in half the time.
Okay, in hindsight, sure, maybe they could have done a couple of things better. But
everything.
At the moment,
top to bottom.
This guy walks in with a crazy batshit story that, of course...
And they hold a press conference?
You're the officer. You're like, oh, this is a fucking slam dunk. This guy obviously did it. Fuck you. And then you just
if I was the officer, I would have my suspicions, but I would probably keep them to myself.
He did that shit.
And decide to do my work, not like get this thing wrapped up and put a bow on it within 15 minutes. I want to move on to the next.
I would have been laughing, drinking my coffee as he told that story.
Officer,
like, oh, keep going, okay.
Officer, you're not writing any of this down.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah.
I'll get my notepad. All right.
Yeah. Just writing in the. Okay. No, I'm writing it. Officer. What? I hope the frogman doesn't come back. This is happening.
Is he in this room with us now?
Is he in this room with us?
Somebody comes in dressed up as he's telling us stuff. Somebody goes, ah, frogman.
Yeah, no, but the other cop, the one who actually arrested this guy, is the one that did her due diligence and was like, oh, I could actually solve some crimes and save some people. She was a great cop.
Someone's saying it's pronounced Vallejo. Pendejo.
It's not Vallejo.
Vallejo?
Not in...
Vallejo.
In the United States, yeah, I understand that the double L becomes a ya. But like in the United States, you don't go Vallejo. If I said Vallejo, California, people would be like, what are you doing?
San Antonio.
Yeah.
Texas.
If I said Vallejo, people would accuse me of cultural appropriation.
You don't pronounce it Los Angeles?
No, I don't pronounce it Los Angeles.
All right.
No, I don't. I understand. If you did, well, if you did, no.
I always say Los Angeles.
No, yeah, but if your mom did, I'd be fine with it. If your mom said Vallejos, that would be fine. But that's not Vallejos.
Okay. What about if I say it?
No, not you.
Okay.
It's the only thing worse than your English is your Spanish.
Yeah.
Wow. I appreciate all you guys hanging out tonight. I appreciate you guys all sending super chats. Every super chat will be acknowledged here on Sam Roberts Now. And it's important that we're all hanging out tonight. I don't think we'll be able to hang out tomorrow. I mean, next week. Because
tomorrow.
No, we're not doing tomorrow. But Hot Dog and I will be in Tampa, Florida. Do you pronounce it? Do you pronounce it Florida?
Tampa, Florida.
Florida. We'll be in Florida.
On vacation, you know?
No, we won't be on vacation. Vacaciones.
Yo, yeah, what?
Vacaciones. No, we'll be working harder than ever. Royal Rumble weekend, of course. If you want to see us, myself and Hot Dog, next Friday you'll have to come to Tampa, Florida. You'll have to come to Side Splitters Comedy Club at this very time, 5 p.m. Eastern.
I don't know, Sam. Depends who all gonna be there.
I'm glad you asked. Notsam Wrestling Live comes to Side Splitters in Tampa this coming Friday, a week from today, as this show is live. You can go to notsamlive.com for tickets because, as announced this week, DJ Who Kid will be in the house in Tampa, Florida.
Whoop, whoop, whoop. Keep it going. Keep it going.
WWE ring announcer Samantha Irvin will be in the house in Tampa, Florida.
Samantha Irvin.
Yes. In the house in Tampa, Florida. Maybe even there to give Hot Dog his own custom ring announcement.
Oh, don't do this to me.
Yes. Yes. And in the house in Tampa, Florida, confirmed, and I double-checked to make sure I could announce it, which is my double confirmation.
Yes.
The newest member of the Judgment Day, the hottest superstar on Monday Night Raw and WWE's #1 merch seller, R-Truth, will be in the house in Tampa, Florida. Get your tickets now at notsamlive.com.
I hope he shows up and he thinks he's doing the Cheap Heat podcast.
Oh, you're not Peter Rosenberg? My bad. Oh, and by the way, we taped the Ultimate Royal Rumble that's going to air over Royal Rumble weekend on Peacock.
Mm-hmm.
And I had to come up with a spot for R-Truth in it. I'm pretty proud of it. I'll tell you off the air because I don't want to spoil it before it's on Peacock, but I'm pretty proud of it.
All right.
Yes. Send those super chats in. Don't forget, by the way, to subscribe to the YouTube channel. Hit like on this video. Leave comments. Do the whole deal. Six Crow always coming through with the financing. I appreciate that very much. Ben Graz sends in the thank you sticker. I appreciate you sending those euros in. Bryce says, I'm poor, the show is late, and I'm lonely. Well, I appreciate you celebrating all those facts. Cubic Chimp writes in, hello, Mr. Brand Muffins. I'm here to send you much love and kisses from the frozen land of our queen, Mrs. Norton. Here, have some kroners, you peasant. Appreciate that. Thank you very, very much. Bono Zombies. What up, fellas?
What up?
Okay. My daughter informed me that Billy sued the makers of the cartoon regular show over likeness and lost. Seems to be his thing. Also, WTF, Sam, why no long T for the winter collection? I was just trying to condense my SKUs. A lot of SKUs the last sale. I figured that this time we would try a smaller amount of items as part of the sale. The winter sale is on right now. You can go to notsamshirts.com or notsam.com. If you go to the top of the page, has links to the live show, has links to the merch. But it'll only be up for another week and a couple days. New Notsam Wrestling merch is up now. The zip hoodie, Notsam across the front, is a must-have for any Not Samsonite. So check that stuff out right now. Adrian Poole, did Handsome Rob get fired because he isn't funny? Well, I found Rob to be plenty funny, but no, I believe he did not get fired. I
would have been long gone if that was the case.
That's true. No, he left to pursue other interests, as a matter of fact. And I think he's doing well where he's at on like John Boy.
Yeah. And he has a baby.
I mean, didn't he have a baby like right after he left the show? When that baby's like, it's like a whole person.
It was a COVID baby, so people might not have heard.
He'd be like 3 or 4 years old by now. Like, it's a terrible time for an announcement.
Oh.
Jordan Williams, Shane Gillis. Shane Gillis is the funniest comedian alive right now. How come he's never been on Jim and Sam? Does he hate Jim? Number one, he has been on Jim and Sam. And number two, I'm sure he'd be on much more often if he didn't live in Austin, Texas. It's kind of
sold out.
He's sold out to the Rogan sphere. Yeah, it's kind of, you know,
New York guy.
If he lived in New York, he could just come in. He doesn't live in New York. He lives in Austin. But whenever that dude's in New York, he's I want him on Jim and Sam, and so does Jim. But he's been on the show before. Spot Center Nana. I don't know. And my boy
What? Are you having a stroke?
No. I was just reading what he wrote. I'm gonna read it. I'm gonna just my ball zitch.
Okay.
My ball zitch. It's the name. I don't know what it can mean. My ball zitch. Not Sam Lehman. You know what my initials are? He said this on King of Kong. It's one of the greatest quotes ever. He's like, when I play Pac-Man, Donkey Kong, they ask you to put initials in the video game. He goes, and he's pretty much wearing this exact outfit. He goes, you know what my initials are? And you can hear the documentary producer off camera going, no. He just starts going like this, messing with his tie. And the producer goes, TIE? And he goes, no, it's USA.
That's funny.
Oh, okay. It's just so great. TIE? No, USA. Oh, okay. Okay. All right. Sure, I guess. Good call, Lehman. B-Herb76, F, Mary, Kill for Hot Dog. Gone Girl, the actual Gone Girl, Billy Mitchell, or Silly Mitchell, or Alec Baldwin.
Like the actual actress in Gone Girl?
No, like the character.
This Gone Girl. Was it based on a true story?
No. But if it were, I mean, the character, right? If the character were real.
Who's the actress again?
It doesn't.
It does matter.
Okay, I guess look IMDb, or I don't know. You're the IMDb king over there. You got IMDb Pro.
The Gone Girl.
You're the industry representative. Who thinks People Magazine's not going to go out of business the same way Sports Illustrated did?
It's a serious question that deserves a serious answer, unlike that comment right there. Okay, yeah, she's cute. She's bad. She can get it. I'm gonna kill Billy Mitchell. I'm not really fucking with him. I'm gonna
What?
marry Alec Baldwin. I'm gonna fuck Rosamund Pike.
But you killed the guy who just cheats at video games, maybe. And you survived the people. It's not Rosamund Pike. It's the character.
Amy Dunn. What?
You married and effed the two that are murderous.
Did she murder in that movie?
What, she ruined a guy's life? That's for sure.
Okay. Get your facts straight, Sam. Yeah, I'm fucking her.
And you're marrying Alec Baldwin? Why?
He seems like a cool hang.
He seems very angry.
Yeah. But like, if he's like angry if you fuck with him, like fuck around and find out angry.
But you want him on your side.
Yeah.
Right.
Like if you're his daughter, he'll yell at you.
So you want to be his daughter?
No, I mean like he'll yell at you if you fuck around while you're his daughter. Remember that phone call?
Yeah, I know, but I gotcha.
Yeah.
So he'll scream at his daughter, but he won't scream at you.
No, he's not. I got nothing to do to get him mad about.
Oh, okay, I guess that's true. I don't know what about you would get anybody upset. And Curtis Mason writes in, Nancy Grace terrifies me. I wouldn't be surprised if there were some skeletons in her closet. I certainly would not.
Full circle, a Nancy Grace documentary.
I would, yeah, I'd produce it. I'd produce it. I'd be all about it.
A little bias there.
No, I don't think so. I just want the truth. I just want the truth to get out there for everybody to see. Hey, man, I appreciate all you guys. Don't forget to do everything you can to support. You got 5 styluses. You might as well use them. And I'm going to cheers with you later.